Hello, this is Sim Racing Corner. We're back again to see if we can have a more successful outcome to looking at old wheels. I'm picking Logitech wheels specifically because they are still compatible with today. Oh, there's SimCat. Hello. Come on. There you go. SimCat says hello. Okay, well anyway, back to this. So this is a Logitech Driving Force GT dating back from between 2007 and an indeterminate discontinuation date because I couldn't find the information for that. But I do know, so let me start opening it and I'll carry on chit-chatting and hopefully stay away from the blade, Cat. Yeah, so the G25 came out in November 2006 and this came out in November 2007 and it was made to is a licensing deal with Sony for Gran Turismo. It's compatible with the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. So this wheel and the G25 were made for a few years. The G25 was replaced by the G27 in 2010, but from what I understand this wheel was still made for a while, but I'm not sure when it was stopped being made, because if it is related to the PlayStation 3, that was still being made for quite a few years. So this may have gone into, I don't know, 2012 maybe it had a 5-6 year lifespan, this thing, of being manufactured. I don't actually know entirely. I figured I would be able to find this quite easily on the internet, but it wasn't so simple. Though I didn't dig like massively deep, I just looked for discontinuation dates. I just googled that for the wheel and I couldn't find anything. So I'm sure there's some information somewhere, but I couldn't be bothered going any further than that. So hopefully this arrives in a better state. This was delivered by DHL, which is definitely a good delivery service. The Momo was delivered by Hermes. Right, and they don't really get a good reputation in this country for their quality of service. And yes, from the seller, that Momo force wheel, and I believe him, yeah, because he wouldn't have sent it to me like that, broken. It got broken in transit. There was obviously some massive impact and it destroyed the steering column and did more damage inside, which is a massive shame. But that's the way it goes. I tried to fix it, as if you saw those videos, but I didn't manage it. It didn't work out that way. Okay, so I'll pop up a picture actually of the original picture of this on eBay, and you'll see that the fellow actually put a flat rim on the front of this, and I think he just cable tied a bigger rim on there, and he definitely looks like a Euro Truck Simulator guy. The wheel was in that sort of position. It's very, very flat, and he had his Thrustmaster shifter was on this huge stalk. It's quite funny looking, but yeah, I think that's what his setup was. There's no pedals. So I bought this for like £20 plus postage. I don't need the pedals. I really want to find out what it's like to use these, the force feedback, what these old wheels are like just to use. It doesn't matter about pedals for me. So it's quite cheap, so that's good, because I do need to do things which are cost effective on the channel, because it costs me money to make videos, and I like doing these things, but yeah, I can't. I have to be sensible, since it's expensive to make videos. Well, the video is as expensive as what I buy. Yeah, it needs a bit of a clean. It's a bit dusty. Why don't people clean them up before they send these things out? Just out of courtesy. So yeah, we've got a power supply. We have that. I'm going to take that off. Look at that. Amazing, that's lasted that long. I guess because you had a... that's quite satisfying. Let's get rid of that. And it's 900 degrees of rotation. You can hear that you can hear the friction there. And that feels really closely matched to my G29, which I will bring up here. and you can hear the same sort of friction. See if it's the same. Actually, this is smoother. This is a lot smoother. But you can feel it. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear you might be able to hear kind of a bit of a rubbing one, but interestingly, yeah. I do know when they brought out the G29 and the G, what was it, 920? They improved the mechanism a little bit by changing the gear system a little bit, just using a different type of teeth to make it smoother. Because that's, so it's a little bit lighter as well. It's definitely a little bit lighter, not much, but it's nice that it's not as noisy the new one. Look at that. There you go, similar sort of size. And what is actually really interesting about this, because this one, the G, you can see it's got both. Well, on there, actually, let's bring this close. You can see the branding on there. The GT is very light, but you can just about see it. So that's for Gran Turismo. So for PlayStation, obviously, right? And this one is a PlayStation licensed wheel. Works on PC, of course. Both work on PC. You can see the resemblance, right? It's really close. It's virtually identical. There's a couple of differences here. There's more buttons here on the G29. Got the same sort of D-pad. Feels the same. I mean, let's see if it feels the same. Well, the dial feels identical. The buttons feel almost identical. So yeah, so basically, because I like the look of the G29. I think this one looks pretty good as well, considering, you know, this is back from 2007. And if you look at the G25 on how it's kind of an ugly wheel, wasn't it? The G25 is a good wheel, but it was pretty ugly. And this is pretty nice. That looks really pretty. That looks quite modern. If this came out now, you wouldn't think it was an old wheel. All right, and the other thing this has, which is pretty cool, you got a sequential shifter on there. I mean, it's not very hard, but it's kind of nice. It's on there. I like that. Look at that. That's good. There's a couple of shoulder buttons on there as well. Ah, right, okay. Where it's a bit rubbish is the paddle shifters. Look at that. You can see they're just there's really not much to them. There's plastic and it's part of the housing there. So yeah, they are not very exciting. You can just see how, yeah, the plastic there just it just bends there. Let's see what it's like in use. Oh, they're actually quite stiff. Well, it's alright. You kind of use just that finger to shift it. Yeah, not very exciting, but it works. But surprisingly stiff, actually. Those little shifters on there, these paddles. I think it looks quite nice. I do need to give it a bit of a dust up and clean it. I'll rub it down with some rubbing alcohol, I think, to kill all the germs and take off the DNA of the last owner. But yeah, that's pretty nice. See at the bottom, we have the usual Logitech clamps, which is the same as those. I mean, are they identical? Let's have a look. Identical, absolutely identical. So it just shows you that even after all these years, after for what 15 years that these things have been made, like the G25, they're still using design features back then on the newer wheels. I guess if it works, why not? Okay. Is there any hard mounting points? No. Okay. So that's the only disappointing part of this, is there's no screw hard mounting points. It it's not, you know, it still has that. I can work around that, but I have to say I have found the mounting points on this one very handy, because it's allowed me to attach it to my main rig quite easily, and it's really nice and firm attachment, especially with you know, in conjunction with using these as well. But yeah, so this one isn't going to be as good, but I'll make do. It's okay. Obviously, it's not. I'm not going to be using this permanently. I'm not. But okay, let's try and power it on and just see if this thing actually just starts up, because it will go through like a routine, and if that works, then we know we're in good shape. And that'll be pretty much it for this video. This is just an unboxing. 10 minutes. I was going a bit. That's not too long really for my usual ramblings. USB. All tangled up. So yeah, I'm running it. I'll be running a series of videos on testing old wheels, if I can get more old wheels in. It'd be nice to get G25 potentially, but they're actually quite expensive still these days. If you have an old G25, just a wheelbase, and you want to get rid of it and you want to send it to me, get in contact. I'll take it off your hands, because you know, most people wouldn't normally buy them without pedals and all that sort of stuff. But if you want to give me one, give me a shout. I'll pay for the postage and maybe a bit of beer money and stuff like that. But you know, I can't afford to pay the going rate for the G25s, because they are stupidly expensive. I don't know why. For such an old wheel, you might as well just buy one of these. It doesn't make any sense why people are still asking for lots of money for these old wheels. Okay. That's plugged in there. And power is there. Right. Let's see this bad boy power up. Bingo! Well, it's working. Perfect. Right, so just see what the resistance is like. That's pretty strong. That is pretty strong. I like that. That feels quite nice. There's like the G25, G27, and even the G920. There's this kind of strange. You don't notice it when you're using it, but you can just see I'm not putting a lot of pressure on there, and it's not like and you can see it's almost like a dead zone of force feedback. Although when you're using it, you still feel force feedback. You can see it's got this wobble there, but when you're using it, you don't notice it. Quite honestly, I've been using this a fair bit, and it was absolutely fine. But yeah, they both have that same characteristic kind of little looseness there. Let's just see what it's like. Do you know that weight is pretty good? I like that. That's actually, I mean, it's probably set to 100%. And quite honestly, I know people set these things lower so you get better fidelity and it doesn't clip the force feedback. I was running this at 100% because I like stronger force feedback. Coming off the back of a direct drive wheel, it's hard to have weak force feedback. And I have to say, that's actually pretty good. That's actually quite strong. So I have high hopes for this being pretty decent. But there you go. The Logitech Driving Force GT from 2007-ish. Maybe there's a date on here. Manufacturer's stamp. Sometimes they have factory stickers, don't they? Well, it shows you the month and year. But there's nothing on this one, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, it's in good condition. Just needs a bit of a wipe down with yeah, to clean it up. But yeah, it looks good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so yeah, stay tuned. And I'll bring something more on these, do some comparisons between old and new. And yeah, and one of the purposes of getting these old wheels in is to see if some of these older ones, which are actually quite inexpensive, you know, if you're just jumping into sim racing for the first time, you don't have a big budget, you maybe are a casual sim racer who doesn't want to spend a lot but wants to move up from, you know, gamepad, because that's how most of us start out, right? You know, for a bit of simming. I mean, but you know, you want to graduate from this to one of these at some point if you want to take it more seriously. Are these older ones, are they good enough? But I mean, it seems solid. It does feel solid. You know, it seems nice and solid. The weight of it feels good. It's actually feels pretty reasonable in the hands. It's not leather. This is like a rubbery. It's kind of, well, it's not rubber, but it's got a slight tack to it. It feels okay. Prefer this one. It's a little bit larger in the hands, but that's all right. That's not bad. Which bit? What don't I like? Because that just fills the hand. That just fills my hand more. It just feels a bit more substantial. I guess, yeah. It's just a little bit thicker on here. Width is pretty similar, the depth of the wheel, but that's all right. I'm happy with that. It's quite ergonomic. Okay, well, let's end this one here. I have nothing more to say. Yeah, drop comments below the video. Do you still use one of these? In fact, let me know. You know, do you have memories of these? Do you, you know, what do you think of this? Because I've got a feeling it's going to be pretty similar to this. And these new are what, about 160, 170 these days. And these you can get probably for a wheel and pedal set about 40. Pedals are nicer on these, of course. I don't have the pedals here, but I do know what they look like. They're pretty basic. But you do get an advantage of that though as well, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so first impression is I'm quite liking it. So I'll give it a shot, I'll try it out, and we will bring more videos on it. So okay then, I will definitely end it now. So thank you again for watching, and happy simming, and bye bye.